Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Moltrap here, coming at you with another StarCraft 2 commentary, and I'm going to try and do this entire best of three between Liquid Tyler and Liquid TLO. Yes, two fan favorites duking it out here. This is a series from the MLG, the Major League Gaming Dallas tournament, which happened obviously in Dallas. Major League Gaming, I'm going to try and get this out quick as possible so we can get to this game. Major League Gaming has this situation where, whoa, did you see that guy spazzing out there for a second? Where they do different tournaments in different locations around the US. I think it's 5 total tournaments. And then that all culminates, depending on how people do in those individual tournaments, it will culminate in like a final championship in August or something like that, which is going to be in Ohio or somewhere over the East Coast. Anyway, you can look that up if you want to know the details. But so this is from the Dallas event, which happens just this last weekend, the first weekend of April. And the other thing you need to know is that the way that the event is organized is this crazy system where there's group play, and then depending on how people did in the group stages, they get seeded in different rounds of this giant elimination bracket. So this is from round 5 of the losers bracket, and then so each of these players did, I believe, Tyler, Liquid Tyler, who is the Protoss player here, by the way, in case you didn't know, swing, did better in the group stages, so he got seeded into round 5, and TLO got seeded a little bit lower, and I believe had to fight his way up through a couple stages. Let me just double check here in the background. Yeah, he had to fight his way up through to this point in the tournament. So anyway, so Tyler had gotten seeded a little bit higher. TLO had to fight his way up through it. I believe actually through, there was another thing where there was like an open tournament, bunch of people, I don't know, it was crazy. You can look up the details if you want. Point being, this is about the middle of the losers bracket, and the winner of the losers bracket gets to face the winner of the winners bracket for the championship final to see who actually wins. And so anyway, I tried to pick a series that had not been casted live. It was casted live. A lot of the games were casted live by DJ Wheat and JP, and of course Day 9 was doing the major commentary in those games. In any case, by the way, so we got Liquid TLO. He's spotting as Terran. He played Terran in this event. He sometimes plays random, but he was playing Terran in this event. Going up here, getting a factory out. Tyler, go ahead and scouting with this probe, and I'm going to go ahead and change some settings real quick. Sorry about that. Just wanted to make sure there was no, was getting a little bit of FPS lag. Just want to make sure there were no kinks, and of course, right as I said, things lag out majorly. Should be okay from here on out, though. Sometimes when I change things, it pauses for a minute while it thinks about it. But I think it should be fine from here on out. In any case, so yes, MLG, extremely crazy, complicated event, was apparently an awesome event. They had a lot of issues with the broadcasting of the online content, but apparently for those of that were at the actual event, it was pretty sweet. So looking forward to some good games here between Tyler and TLO as they both try and fight their way up the losers bracket. Even if whoever wins this is still going to have a few, like 3 or 4 best of 3s to get into those actual top echelons of the tournament regardless. So definitely hard fight to get to the end here. So anyway, I tried to find some games that were not casted live, and hopefully I think these were not casted live. So sometimes it's impossible to avoid that, but I figured if I could, I wouldn't want to step on the toes of MLG. I'm not sure if they're going to put up VODs or not. I'm actually not sure. I checked their website and could not find anything. Whoa, that is weird. My map's doing some weird stuff there. In any case, so Hellion's going to come up here and scout, and try and scout at least. We'll see if he can get up here. A couple sentries are out. We'll see if he lets that Hellion in, and it looks like the Hellion was just checking for an expansion. Does not want to try and run up that ramp. If I was him, I would kind of poke up there and at least see what kind of army composition I can get, and he actually might be in range to see these buildings. 3 gateways and a robotics facility here for Liquid Tyler. Kind of a standard PVT opening. Well, not completely standard, but it's been pretty standard lately. 1 gateway robo and then extra gateways after that. And sometimes there's an expansion. If you follow Artosis' build of it, he gets an expansion up and then cancels it if he needs to, depending on what he scouts with the Observer, which is heading over to TLO's base right now. Gonna see the extra command center being built as well, so he is probably gonna follow up with an expansion of his own once he sees that command center. It looks like Tyler actually has almost 400 in the bank, and probably may have actually been planning on what are these stalkers doing here? Maybe he's worried about a Banshee attack or something like that. but he may have been planning on expanding regardless. You can see he's just camping around 400 minerals, and once he sees that, he sees the expansion, he's going to come down here, kill that Hellion, plant out an expansion. There you go. He's got the money in the bank already for it. He just wanted to make sure he was safe by setting this observer. Oh, it looks like the observer might have been... Looks like he didn't actually comsat, but he kind of was just taunting that observer out there, and actually drops a couple mules. So, well, actually he is going to have enough for another scan. He's got not one over here. In any case, so TLO just kind of teching up. At this point, he's not quite fully... Well, yeah, he is fully saturated, actually, on his main base, rather. So he could easily move down here and take this expansion. It would be worthwhile. He'd be able to start mining off that extra base and be able to get a little bit out of it. Tyler, in the meantime, has gotten his 3 warp gates. We're going to see if he decides to go for any additional tech. He is actually getting some immortals now. He did scout those siege tanks there. So he's probably going to try and get some immortals. Siege tech is likely to follow. I should get that production tab up. Sorry about that. And yeah, siege tank is about to follow. So, and look at this. Tyler has observers at the front and in the main base, so he can see exactly what's going on in both locations. Reactor barracks just to get those extra minerals out. He is researching. Actually, he's getting some Hellions out. That is kind of interesting. I'm not sure exactly why he's getting those Hellions out. Maybe just to get some splash damage on any ground units that go in there. He did see a few Zealots before, so he may be getting some Hellions to try and soften up those Zealots, although the main thing that's going to kill those Zealots is probably going to be these mass Marines. And actually getting up another command center, so TLO really going bullishly on the economy here. We have seen players get extra command centers lately just because, and ooh, a Raven coming out as well. That's kind of interesting. Just wants to make sure he doesn't get caught off guard by DT, and let's actually just double check here. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about what's going on in Tyler's base. He's wanted to get his economy going as much as possible, so he's been dropping mules, hasn't wanted to spend any scans on seeing what's going on in the base. Oh, the Raven does pick off that observer, though. The Raven popped out and saw the observer. Tyler is going to go ahead and get that extra observer out of the way. Very smart move, and he can actually just see the front there. You can see that bunker. Can't see the army composition anymore, really, so you might want to poke in there and try and check that out every once in a while. But at the very least, he can see if TLO moves out, and that is kind of one of the important things. He kind of has an idea of what the army composition is going to be. He sees these Hellions. Blue Flame is also almost done being upgraded, by the way, so he may actually decide to go in and kill probes during the midst of this attack. And in fact, he's actually not even going to go in for an attack at the same time. He's just going to use those for harassment while he takes out these rocks so he can float this command center over there and get a 3rd expansion at the high yield. And actually, here's, oh, 2 Hellions going around the back. 2 coming in the front, and I don't know why he didn't run those in the back at the same time, because he met a pylon wall, I guess the main reason why, and meeting a wall of immortals is going to keep those out as well. It looks like he doesn't actually take any damage. He's going to try and actually just go in the front, though. Not the best placement. He's got the pylons in the back to keep him from going around. Is he going to get a couple more? Oh! Looks like, for whatever reason, oh, nice force field, keeping that Hellion out of his main base as well. Observer's going to spot this new base going down. That was pretty good by Tyler. Very, very nicely done. Took minimal losses. I was a little bit worried. It looks like the Hellion just wasn't quite in range or something, or he may have microed it away too soon, but he didn't quite get that shot off on those probes lined up. And he's got 4 immortals with this army moving out now, a bunch of stalkers as well. This is a pretty sizable army. He's going to try and come in here, and he might actually be able to just pick off that command center. It's in the middle of morphing, and he may be able to just own it because he doesn't have the defenses down here. Defenses moving out, a couple Banshees in the mix, but he's just going to have to sack that command center. No planetary for him, and he's probably going to hopefully cancel these refineries. In fact, one SCV does get out with a little bit of gas, and immediately having to rebuild another command center down there. Uh-oh. Go back, Mule. Go back. Well, actually, I guess those stalkers are just out of range. Ooh, he's actually going to hallucinate a bunch of immortals. Whoa, and hallucinations were actually a big deal in the MLG tournament. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. Look at this. He's going in, taking a lot of damage on those hallucinations. Blinks in the stalkers, but they're taking massive damage from tons of rings and Banshees. Point defense drone going down, making sure those stalkers cannot finish things off. And Tyler, GG's apparently. That is kind of interesting. He had lost everything but his immortals and decided to just leave the game instead of trying to press on with, well, actually, if they were about even in economy, and he just had a lot smaller army, only 30 supply difference. So I'm a little bit surprised that he decided to just leave the game at that point, but that's his prerogative, I guess. Anyway, He has been, remember, this is the round of 5. This is a long tournament, a test of endurance as well as playing ability. So I guess when you think of it that way, it makes sense that he would want to leave. He did get owned pretty bad, and there was 4 Banshees out, which would basically go and own his probe line now that I think of it, keep him in space. So definitely at a disadvantage. Regardless, anyway, so hope you guys enjoyed that. Let's go ahead and move on to Game 2 of TLO versus Liquid Tyler.